She was living a life that many would call perfect. Every morning, she would wake up with a sense of purpose, preparing for her work at a job she loved. Her friends admired her energy, her family depended on her support, and her small circle of colleagues always turned to her for advice. She had dreams, plans, and routines that gave her life structure, and she felt secure in her path. People often told her she had it all: a stable career, a loving partner, and a sense of belonging. She believed that everything she had built was permanent, that her happiness was guaranteed, and that the future would simply follow the path she had envisioned. But life, she soon realized, has a way of testing even the strongest foundations. One morning, a phone call shattered her sense of security. Her company was downsizing, and despite her dedication and hard work, she was being let go. The news hit her like a cold wave, leaving her numb and disoriented. Losing her job was not just a loss of income, it felt like losing her identity, her purpose, and a part of herself she had defined through her work. In the same week, her relationship, which she had relied on for emotional support, fell apart. Arguments, misunderstandings, and long-standing resentments erupted, leaving her feeling abandoned and unloved. Friends she once trusted seemed distant, too busy, or unsure how to comfort her. Suddenly, the walls she had built around her life crumbled, and she was left facing a void she had never imagined. In those first days, she struggled to understand what had happened. Denial was her first defense. She told herself this was temporary, that things would return to normal if she just tried harder. But as each day passed, reality sank in deeper, and denial transformed into fear. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of a future without the life she had envisioned. She began questioning everything about herself, her abilities, her decisions, her worth. Nights were the hardest, when the silence of her apartment made her feel smaller than ever. Memories of her past successes now seemed like distant echoes, mocking her with what was gone. Every small task felt monumental, even getting out of bed required an effort she hadn't known before. Her loneliness was compounded by the sense of invisibility. People she once interacted with casually now seemed to exist in a world where she no longer belonged. Social media, which had always been a window to connection, became a mirror reflecting the contrast between her current despair and the happy lives of others. She wrestled with guilt and shame, wondering if she had done something wrong to deserve this series of misfortunes. Every reflection in the mirror seemed to question her, reminding her of everything she had lost. The emotional weight was exhausting, and some mornings she doubted whether she could face another day. Yet, even in these moments of profound despair, tiny sparks of self-awareness began to emerge. In her loneliness, she found time to think deeply about her past choices and actions. She noticed patterns she had ignored, strengths she had taken for granted, and small victories she had overlooked. A faint curiosity began to surface, an inner whisper that perhaps this destruction, as painful as it was, could become a turning point. Perhaps losing everything might teach her something no success could. Even though fear and sadness dominated her mind, these moments of reflection planted the seed of resilience. It was unclear how she would rise, but the idea that she could rise at all slowly began to take root. By the end of this section, the audience feels her despair, her confusion, and her overwhelming sense of loss. They understand the stakes, the emotional depth of her crisis, and the gravity of the fall. At the same time, subtle hints of introspection create curiosity and hope, leaving viewers eager to see how she will navigate the next chapter of her journey. The emotional connection is strong, as the audience witnesses the human vulnerability of someone who appears to have lost everything, yet still carries the potential for transformation. After hitting rock bottom, she realized that the only way forward was to face her fears and confront the emptiness she felt inside. At first, every step was small and uncertain. She began by simply getting out of bed at a consistent time, organizing her days, and allowing herself to feel her emotions instead of ignoring them. Slowly, she started exploring activities she had once loved but had abandoned in the rush of daily life, writing in a journal, walking in nature, and even experimenting with cooking new meals. Each small accomplishment reminded her that she still had control over parts of her life, even if everything else seemed to be falling apart. She also took time to reflect on her past mistakes, not to punish herself, but to understand patterns that had held her back. She wrote down her goals, her dreams, and the qualities she admired in herself. By recognizing her strengths, she rebuilt a sense of self-respect that had been buried under failure and disappointment. Moments of doubt still came, but she learned to treat them as reminders to stay focused and persevere rather than letting them defeat her. Through patience and persistence, her mindset slowly shifted from despair to determination, from loss to curiosity about what she could achieve next. New opportunities began to appear as a result of her efforts. She enrolled in a course to learn a skill she had always been interested in, met mentors who offered guidance, and reconnected with friends who supported her growth. Each interaction, each small success, reinforced her belief that she was capable of creating a fulfilling life. Her confidence returned gradually, not overnight, but steadily, through repeated actions and personal victories. She realized that losing everything had given her the freedom to redefine her life on her own terms. By the end of this journey, she had not only regained her sense of purpose but discovered a deeper understanding of herself. She felt stronger, more resilient, and more in tune with her true values than ever before. The audience witnesses this transformation and experiences the emotional shift from sadness and hopelessness to hope, pride, and motivation. Her story delivers a clear moral: even when life strips away everything, it can create space for growth, self-discovery, and the chance to become the best version of oneself. It inspires viewers to believe that no matter how deep their struggles, resilience and self-belief can lead them to triumph.